Hey, good morning everyone, what's going on? Today I'm going to give you a little tutorial on how I brew with my Braumeister. Like I said in my last video, I'm not a pro brewer, just hopefully I can help you with some tips and tricks and let you know what works well for me. So last time I kind of didn't show you guys how this works, but this is the power transformer that I use. It's a 5,000 watt transformer, and basically plug this guy into it and away we go. Alright, so here we go. Here's the Braumeister starting up. There's the step up, step down transformer. And you'll see here when it loads up, it comes preloaded from where I left off before. So you can see it there. I'll show you the recipe that we're using. This is my light body recipe. I find it works really well for ISAs, and today we're going to be brewing an ISA. Next up's the water. So there's actually a fill line here, and I'm going to use 27 liters of water for my mash. So if you look down here, you'll see on the post the top line is 25 liters. I put 2 more liters in after that and we're good to go. So I use reverse osmosis water. It's cheap, it's like $5 extra, but I find that actually makes quite a big difference when all is said and done. So let's get started. I'll bring you a little closer so you can see how fill we are. So I think it's probably pretty tough to see here, but that fill marker is the top post, and I'm just over the top post. And now that I'm all filled up with water, I can come down here and hit my brew start. We're doing light recipe number 1. Water is filled in. It's gonna start venting the pump and get up to temperature. We're back and we are up to mash in temperature. So you'll notice that this is dinging in the background. The cool thing about this unit is it'll actually just sit here at 145 degrees until I'm ready to go for my next step. So I'm gonna hit select. It's gonna shut off the ventilation, and now it wants me to fill in the malt. So let's do it. So we're ready to fill in the malt, and I'm just putting the last step here on my mesh screens. So I've actually got this little piece of rubber that goes around, and I've cut it all along the inside. And that just creates a really nice seal in the malt pipe. So last little step here, and we should be good to go to add in the malt. So the malt pipe itself comes with a rubber seal along the bottom. You have to make sure that you put that on. This is the malt pipe here. So the malt pipe goes in. Make sure it's nice and square. Right down and creates a suction. Then what you're going to do is you're going to grab your sieve. So this is the bottom piece of the sieve. You want to make sure that this one goes down first, the thick one. Slides right down. And then you want to put your thinner one in. Alright, now time for the grains. I've got 10 pounds of grain. So I've got 9.5 pounds of Braumeister, and I've got half a pound of Crystal 40, and that's what's in my recipe today. So now we'll put in some of the grains. And here we go with the grains. So this stuff's pre-crushed, and you actually get a really good efficiency with this machine. I typically get between 80 and 95% efficiency. Put some in, give it a stir. pretty important, and you want to make sure that you don't get any of the grains down the sides here. So all in here, that will just get into the pump, and it's not something that you want to do. I'm pretty happy with that, how things look. I don't feel any dough balls. So I'm gonna grab the mesh screen, and this is what I have already put on. The fine screen goes on the bottom, remember that, and then the big one goes on the top. Slide that down. Perfect. I grab my bar. And I'll bring you back down now to show you what's going on the screen, because that's it for now. Okay, yes, we did fill in the malt. Now we're ready to go. So we're gonna see the magic start happening now. As the wort starts to be made. So we'll come back in a little bit and we'll check on the clarity soon and let this go do its thing. Alright, I figured I'd give you a little bit of an update here. So we are about 18 minutes left in the mash, and I wanted to give you guys a little shot of what is going on inside. So you can see things are really starting to clear up nicely. We got a good flow going there. And in about 18 minutes, I'll give you another update so you can see what we're doing next to get the grains out of here and get the boil started. Okay, we just finished the end of the mashing, and it's time to take the grains out. So it wants us to remove the malt pipe, so we will do. So here we are, we're going to remove the malt pipe. I thought you might want to take a little look and see how the clarity has come apart. The wort is actually just kind of straining back down in now, but now you can have a good look and see how clear the wort actually is. Really nice. Alright, we're back. I'm tall, but I'm not quite tall enough, so I actually just brought it down onto the ground here. This piece here is the support for your malt pipe when you bring it up out of the top here. Alright, got my water here. Time to do a little sparging. So you can see now, since this plate is left on, the water kind of builds up here and gives a nice little fly sparge. That works pretty sweet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the boil now because it takes a while to heat up. While this is doing its sparge, I'll bring you down for that. So we removed the malt pipe, and you can still hear it trickling. It's draining right now. Remove the malt pipe and start boiling. The pump's gonna come on and it's gonna start boiling. It's gonna get up to 212. So I'm gonna let the sparge happen here for a little bit longer, and I'll be back when we've started to boil. Alright, something else that's pretty important to do is just check your pre-boil gravity. Now I've got my hydrometer and I've got a little syringe here. I'm going to grab a sample and I'm going to take a quick read. Just lay that on there like that. Set it down. And yeah, we're right on the money. So we should be good to go here. We're going to get this thing boiling, and as soon as it gets up to boil, I'm going to add some more hops. So we'll see you when it's time to add the hops. Alright, I'm starting to feel and hear a little rumbling inside. We're getting to 210 degrees here. Now, it won't actually start the timer, and you can see we're boiling now, until it gets to 212 degrees inside. So what I'm going to do is change that to 210. And it's going to tell me to add my hops. Grab my hops, toss them in, and we're good. So you can see it's been boiling for a bit, and we'll keep going. So I really didn't want to go out and spend 200 and something euros to get the vent hood for this thing. So now that we're up and we're pretty good to boil here, what I do is just take a piece of tin foil, wrap it around the top, and I create my own vent hood. You can see we get a good steam going here. And this is the inexpensive version of the vent hood for me. So I'll see you back here when we have to add some more hops, as this guy's ripping and roaring. Alright, things are moving along nicely here. So it's about the 20-minute mark, and I'm going to take this guy off and I'm going to put in my wort chiller. I just tossed in my Irish moss, and now this guy's going to go in. So you'll hear the beep go shortly. That'll be my 20-minute mark. I'm going to toss this guy in, and then wrap up my tin foil again. Now the reason that I do this, and there's my beep, so I'll toss my hops in. There we go, we're good there. So the reason that I do this isn't because I want to vent it somewhere. The reason that I put this on is just because it keeps a little bit more of the heat in. And I find that if I'm actually just putting the boil on and there's nothing to cover up, I get a lot of heat loss and the boil doesn't roil as much. So this just keeps it all in there nicely. You can see the evaporation coming off, and I have a good hot rolling boil in there, and I'll show you that in a second. Yeah, we should be good here now. 20 more minutes and we're done. So there's nothing quite like having a homebrew while you're making homebrew. And it was a little earlier before, but now it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so I'm gonna pour myself a nice one. This is an IPA that I made about 2 months ago, and it's been conditioning in the keg in the fridge here. The double tap's really nice, and got the Perlick taps. They make a huge difference when it comes to sticking. So here we go. We've got actually it's a really nice flow, nice head, and I've been tasting and sampling this. It's spot on. So let's take a little look-see. Cheers, guys. Oh man, that's good. All right, our boil is all done. So we're ready to add our last hop addition. A little guy in there, and take this off. So now the name of the game is to get this as cool, as fast as we can. So right now, I'm going to turn on my tap and let the water go through the wort chiller. And as soon as we get down to about 80 degrees, we can turn the pump on, and the pump circulation will actually help cool the wort a little bit more too. Another thing that's really important now is to make sure that everything that touches this is sanitary. So I've got my sanitized bucket full of everything that I need, and I'm going to grab my fermenter and bring it back down here too, because it's been sanitizing as well. So we got the water going. Cold water in, hot water out. Right on. Alright, we're back, and everything seems to be cooled down nicely. One thing you're going to want to make sure you do is check the temperature. I've just got this little thermometer, and we're sitting at about 75 degrees now. The other really cool thing about the Braumeister is that there's a temperature gauge on the screen, so it'll tell you exactly what temperature you're sitting at as well. So now that we're done, I'm going to take out my wort chiller. We're good to go. Toss that right in the sink. Now we got to get this into my fermenter. So I'm going to bring my fermenter over here. Better get this bad boy out of the way. So good. And everything flows down, so I'm going to get the Braumeister up on top of the counter. So remember how I said everything needs to be sanitary? So this is a sanitizer, and what I'm going to do is spray up into here just to make sure everything's sanitized. Here's my yeast I'm about to pitch. Make sure it's sanitized. We're good. I get my hose. It's been in the sanitizer. Now we're ready to go. So one thing that you're going to want to make sure too is that if you do have conical or anything like that, that all of the hoses are closed. So we're going to drain here. I'm going to filter everything out just because there's quite a bit of trout in here, and away we go. So beautiful little setup here. We're getting triple filtered, and we're also oxygenating the wort while we do it too. Here's a look at what's going on inside. Coming down nicely. Alright, so another thing that I'm going to do, because I want to know the actual alcohol percentage of this beer, is I'm going to take a gravity reading now before I pitch my yeast and before fermentation. So again, I want to make sure that everything's sanitized. Drop a little bit on there. See how she goes. So, oh yeah, right on the money. So I should be good here. I should end up with a beer that's around 4.5% if all goes well with fermentation. So, got a couple more minutes here. We're almost at the 5-gallon mark. So we should be looking pretty good. Good. Now we're sitting at the 5-gallon mark. Take this out. Close my tap off. Now we're going to pitch my yeast. So this is an American Ale 2 by Scarpman. Never tried this one before, so we'll see how it goes. It's hungry. So looks like I got everything out of there. Got my sanitized spoon over here, and I'm going to give it a stir. Alright, we should be good for a stir now. I've got my airlock on the top here. This is completely sanitized and ready to go. I'm gonna put that on. Now we're off to the garage to put it in the fermentation chamber. All right. Yes, 5 gallons of beer can be a little bit heavy. All right, into the fridge she goes. So I've got my temperature probe here, and it's hooked up to an Inkbird regulator, and I just slide that right in there. That measures the temperature on the inside, and we'll come back in a week to blow off the trub. So one thing I thought you guys might want to see, this is my temperature regulator. This is the temperature inside the fermenter, and this is what it's regulated to now. I was doing a lager before, so it's set up for that. So what I'm going to do is just hold down my set button. Since it's an ale that I'm going to be fermenting here, I'm going to put it up to 21.1 degrees. That's what I find that I have the best success with. So 21.1, hold down set, and away we go. So the temperature is about 22 degrees inside the fermenter, and it'll cool it down slightly, about 1 more degree, and then it'll just sit there for the whole time during fermentation. And that's how it works. All right, we're all done. So if you had any questions or comments or anything that you wanted to see, by all means, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them and get back to you. I had a great day brewing, and usually do with the Braumeister. So if you're looking to get one of these things, then hopefully it helped you out and you enjoyed the video. So all the best, and cheers. It's good stuff. Bye everybody.